This is How to Edit by Richard Christian Matheson. The problem. So, let's get started. My name is Bill Wiley and I'm a professional writer. Perhaps you are too. Or perhaps you want to be. It's a noble calling, right up there with opera and giving blood. However, there is a dark side which you indulge at your peril. The lure of elaboration. I speak from experience. Despite efforts to condense, I just couldn't seem to wrap it up. If a period is the stop sign in a sentence, I've run too many. Engulfed in heightening and widening, I've creamed readers like innocent pedestrians. Writers can't resist. We explain. Then we say it again. Then we say it once more, just in case we missed anything salient or pithy. And by the way, salient and pithy are similar enough that I could have used one rather than both in that sentence. More on this often irresistible self-destructive tendency later. The problem, we are hemorrhaging words. The solution, read on. How serious is the problem? It is suffocating our world. Without being melodramatic, for writers the issue is toxic and ubiquitous. We even use words that annoy our readers, like toxic and ubiquitous. Yes, I'm aware writers claim that explaining at length improves clarity or enhances style. I've heard it all. I've said it all. I've gushed and exceeded word count with oblivious verve. Let's take off the long-winded gloves. A labored metaphor I will cut, and if you'd written it, I'd hope you would too, and be frank. Here's what is really going on. 1. Narcissistic indulgence. 2. Self-adoring excess. Which, by the way, are basically the same description expressed two different ways, an aggravating variation on the pithy salient syndrome alluded to above. On your path to good writing, always remember, pencils have erasers to eliminate mistakes. They also have them to erase ego, crud, and prolongation. A handy tool for you. For illustrative purpose, I am weaving writing misdemeanors into this piece so you can see them up close, like swollen, unsavory lab specimens. Scrutinize their lack of discipline, poor execution, and general sloth. If you pay close attention, you can learn from my bad examples. Remember, good writing is taught. Embrace exactitude, purge the superfluous, and get serious about it. No more false promises, no more lip service. Another sentence I will cut, as the point it makes is redundant. How widespread is the problem? Are you kidding? It's everywhere. Brochures, menus, deodorant instructions, horoscopes. Writers are drunk on self-expression, a wonder in word thickets, high on adjectives, mainlining verbs. See, I'm doing it again. It's as bad as heroin. What is good writing? Your eyes waltz across it. It has music, balance, and depth. It provokes thoughts and feelings, not resentment and stupor. It paints pictures, dodging images strung together like a charm bracelet from Honolulu. It doesn't overuse commas, underlining, italics, similes, gassy embellishments, big words, or bludgeons of obscure reference. All the tricks of a neophyte, transparent and uninvolving. I do think that sentence will ultimately be cut or made into 3 sentences, but let's move on. Good writing also avoids the overt in concept and execution, remains subtle while intense. Miscellaneously, it should swerve around exclamation marks, which are like loud drunks screaming in your face, and minimize use of the word because. It's an indolent crutch. But none will resuscitate the truly mediocre. Good writing, thus, is hard to achieve. Why? Partially because writing, per the insight of our betters, is rewriting, consolidation, sculpture, if you're inclined toward the metaphoric. And there I go again, caught in my own florid avalanche. This is to be scrupulously avoided. Here's why. Author's disclaimer. No one publishes my work anymore. They used to. I've sold lots of books. 11 novels, 36 short stories, 8 articles about writing technique. Critics of my fiction said I had edge, immediacy. I got fan mail. I was stalked by a busty chiropractor from Portland who thought I was the new Cheever. John, not Susan. A big New York editor wrote a letter to me about a suspense novel I'd written. Said my voice was a hypnotic scalpel. Did that make my day? I thought I was headed for the top. A sure clue life has taught me that everything is about to crumble. 2 tanked novels later, even my stalker went home. Now they tell me my work is chubby. A yawn. A wanton spill of exposition, some critic at Publishers Weekly wrote. How did it happen? My ex-agent says I fell in love with my voice, tumbled into the reflection of my own bloated verbiage, drowning in self-regard. My word bulge numbed minds. That sentence needs some work, by the way. The point is, it half ruined me. Don't make the same mistake. How do we correct the problem? First, we acknowledge it. Do not run the other way. It can run faster. Then we roll up our sleeves, and we stop whining. Don't you hate that? I hate that. Our vow to excise linguistic sludge. Be precise, not sloppy, not diffuse. Either of which, by the way, would have sufficed in making my point. Again, witness the problem and try to deny its strangling enormity. That sentence, by the way, though self-conscious, has some style. What holds us back? Ourselves. If you blame others, you are naive. Not to say there aren't plenty of unhelpful types who get in our way. I had mine. You've got yours. You know who they are. Make a list. And commit to doing something about it. No one said writing or the writing life was easy. Personal discipline for writers. In the spirit of the aerodynamic, let me mention some of my bad habits and how I've endeavored to correct them. For starters, in my quest for the succinct, 1. I sleep less these days, 3 hours a night, when I can ignore the constant pain. That isn't your concern. Then I'm up and I'm editing. 2. I stopped seeing people I don't really enjoy. Not a long list to begin with. Now blank. 3. I quit drinking and smoking. Both distracted me with their expense and ritual. They also required time that was better spent writing and rewriting. Also, they probably led to my cancer diagnosis. You remember cancer. Cells that just keep multiplying, spreading uncontrollably all over the goddamn place like an Ohio flood. Where was the editor when cancer got invented? Simplicity is your friend. In mastering the art of editing, compress, eliminate, streamline. And don't use 3 words like I just did. Ditch all but the vital. Did you know Michael Crichton ate the same thing every day when he was writing in order to edit out needless decisions, allow his mind to think only about what he was writing? He did not regard food as essential treat nor friend, simply as fuel. Tactical isolation. It is your ally. Trust me, no one else in your life is. Insider tips. I now eat once a day. I also stopped calling my mother. Easy, considering the things she did to me when I was little. I know it's hard to draw the line. Old habits die hard. I suppose everything that doesn't want to die dies hard. Taking action. Which brings me to Linda. She was never a creative person, even when I married her. To make matters worse, she had 0 sensitivity to the new novel I've been working on. How's it going to launch my comeback? Her lack of vision vexed me. I took action. Make sure you do the same. A few more words about using fewer words. Never underestimate the profound effect of eliminating the needless, particularly from your work environment. I heartily recommend removing distractions. TV, music, barking dogs, even people. Ask yourself, who is really there for you when the chips are down? A friend or yourself? A perfect example is how those annoying creeps at the coffee shop last Thursday. I was in my booth just back from radiation therapy, feeling sick. In the middle of an important chapter, I was on fire. My inner achiever was back. I savored the thought of my ex-agent seeing this new novel, falling back in love with my writing, being informed to eat shit. I savored my stalker resuming her obsession. I savored the prospect of the critics drooling at my incandescent re-entry, watching their snide eyes narrow with envy, their ulcers bleed. None of that was going to happen because as I sat at the booth trying to write, the little girls wouldn't pipe down, giggling, jumping, fake sneezing on each other. Mom busy on her cell phone in the smoking section patio, talking to some douchebag. I ask you, what's more important? Novels or annoying, obnoxious little girls? Yeah, no kidding. Can you over-edit? No, that's a rumor perpetrated by hacks. You can always edit more. A word that gums up flow, waxy dialogue, a pudgy phrase that slows sleek thought. Be ruthless. Do not become so fond of things you thought you cared about that you aren't willing to nix them. Opportunities are everywhere. Another example taken from real life. This morning as I was about to write, I looked into the mirror and realized something. 2 eyes. Maybe I only need one. Why use the excess energy blinking? Just because we're born that way? We need to think outside the box, for that box is our casket. Your writing future. As you cultivate your future career as a writer, learn to never use 2 words where one will do the trick, or several ideas to camouflage the absence of a true one. Remember, the amateur overwrites. The professional edits. My new novel is a perfect example. The first draft is over 900 pages. After a thorough, unsentimental edit, it is greatly improved. I even sent it to my ex-agent to torment him. Every life has twists. Wrapping up. Editing is the philosophy of life. For example, last night I realized that in theory I don't need legs. Writers sit, not walk. Even 2 arms. For a scribe like me who writes by hand is overkill. These are my musings. Arrive at your own. We're the architects of our own fate. As you deepen your commitment to the brief, forge a unique path. Don't copy mine or someone else's. The key is to discover your own methods. Look for whatever slows down your writing or gets in your way, and eliminate it. Accept no intrusion on momentum, which I basically already said in the prior sentences, so that one is a goner. As a famous wag once said about editing our writing, we must be willing to kill our children. Well, that's a start. When all is said and done, there's only one golden rule. No loss, no gain. If it doesn't contribute anything, cut it. Until it hurts. Happy writing. The Los Angeles Times, writer's body found. Novelist was plagued by problems. Former best-selling, critically lauded suspense novelist Bill Wiley was found dead in his North Hollywood home Tuesday morning. His badly mutilated body, which police investigators said was missing an eye, arm, and legs, was discovered by shocked neighbors. Investigators reported Wiley had used pliers and a jigsaw on himself and bled to death. A final article he wrote about editing was found in his blood-spattered office. Wiley's last 2 years were riddled with tragedy. Bad sales, poor reviews. A terminal cancer diagnosis beleaguered him, and in June, his wife of 30 years, Linda, hanged herself in their home. Wiley was not a suspect in her death, but remained a person of interest in the ongoing investigation of 2 young girls who vanished from a coffee shop in which he often wrote. His longtime agent said Wiley's new novel, small print, an avant-garde work in which each chapter is one sentence, was purchased after his death by his former publisher. The novel is 7 pages long.